Get ready, cause it's about time for you to speak your mind. Super Secret Girls Club. Super Secret Girls Club. Super Secret Girls Club.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to the Super Secret Girls Club.
Yay, welcome back.
These are your two favorite ladies for Wednesday mornings. I'm Navi.
I'm Marquetta.
And with hidden Nico somewhere in the corner, Snorlax. She will start snoring here very soon. Hello, everybody who is joining us live on Twitch and YouTube. Just a reminder, if you are joining us on YouTube, we will only be looking at chat on Twitch. So if you are commenting, we just sadly won't be able to see it. But hop on over to Twitch. We will be interacting with you.
Bobby, thank you for the sub.
Thank you.
Hello to all the first-time chatters.
Yay! I don't know what that noise is. The first-time chatters. We love you all. Thank you so much for commenting. Yeah. How you been, Kitty?
Good.
Yeah. How was your Wednesday been so far?
My Wednesday's been okay.
Yeah.
We got our hopes up in the studio over fiber internet, and our hopes got instantly crashed. So while you guys were watching Secret Invasion, I was dealing with that emotions.
Oh no.
Emotions were high, and then they were low.
It went by such a happy hill. But everybody, we will be posting Secret Invasion sometime today. Surprisingly, it was really good.
Yeah,
I will recommend watching it. The premiere was had very it was a banger.
I'm kind of sad I'm missing on this one because it's not timing well for me. I would be missing half of the show anyway, so I'm just gonna watch it on my own.
Yeah,
and we can talk about it later.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So that will work great.
Yeah, I would literally be gone for half of the show for reaction. So
yeah, I'm gone for 2 episodes and one is gone for this one. So we're gonna be switching out each other. So that will be interesting. But yeah, super excited.
I heard it was in Prague.
Moscow.
But they shot it in Prague.
That will make sense
because
it looked like it looked like a Prague-ish. I almost said
Prague-ish.
I almost mentioned that.
Yeah, Prague is really affordable for film crews to go to, and I think they have some tax incentives as well.
That makes sense.
So they usually, if they need an innocuous European setting,
and they'll just go to Prague.
It usually happens in Prague,
and everything else can be CGI because they showed what's that Moscow's downtown Red Center, Red Square. They showed that, but for a very brief second. So I think besides that, everything else could have been Prague. That makes sense. But yeah, no, that was great. Just straight coming from there to here. But yeah,
how does that feel?
And we had switched turns. I used to be you. Interesting because I was watching the time. We thought we will be done early, but it was an hour long. And afterwards, okay, I have 6 minutes. All right, bye guys. Let's head on over. It's been interesting. But yeah, how's your weekend been? Did you do anything crazy this weekend? Did we do anything this crazy? Because we had a long weekend. We had Juneteenth.
We
had a barbecue.
Juneteenth, yes. So we had a barbecue in our house.
How was
it
that?
It was the first time we had family over in our house for a thing that we were hosting. Because usually we go to our family,
got it.
They will cook for us. So we were both me and Chris were we need to make a good impression. Oh my god, everything has to be perfect. So we were stressing about it, but it ended up being really good.
Good.
All of the barbecue we did was really good. Everybody had fun. I was really annoyed about one thing, and that was getting my patio furniture because I really wanted. I found what I wanted at Lowe's, and I was gonna go get it. I found it 2 months ago, but I didn't get it because we wanted to finish our patio first. Our patio is not finished, by the way. But Chris was like, let's just have it so that we can have family over. I was like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
So I go buy it. Turns out everybody was buying patio furniture this weekend.
Oh, because it's a long weekend.
Everything was sold out.
Oof.
And I couldn't find, and the furniture I found was 6 chairs, big table, for a really good price.
Yeah.
And it was all wicker furniture, so it was beautiful.
Oh, damn.
And I ended up with
Some random chairs.
Yeah, like, you know, like those like metallic.
I hate those.
I know, but like it's really comfortable. It's like one of those that like kind of swivels and like reclines.
Oh, that's nice.
So like the chairs are really nice. They're just like not like.
But you have pictures.
Yeah. It's like a whole different vibe. So I'm just like.
Just here. And it worked out. People had fun. Nobody will let us know beside you that what you were imagining and what end up being. Yeah. Sorry I missed out on that one. I had to go. My friend, she has 2 dogs here. She can't take it with her in international Qatar because they apparently passed a law that you can't have dogs. Like, you can bring dogs internationally. So, and they're 2 old dogs. So I was just saying, like, if Nico will get along with them so I can bring them. The walk was fine. After walk, not so much. So I'm left with a couple of bruises. We'll see how that goes. And I think at this point it might be Nico who might be the problem.
Oh no.
So
are you the drama?
I think she might only be good with like small dogs, like Cashew. She does well, but like probably not with big dogs. She comes off very aggressive. So she's like, oh my God, let me say hi. And the other dogs get freaked out. It's like, okay, I might not be. So I don't know. We'll see. After I come back from my vacation, I might have another seed introduction, but I think 3 dogs will also be a lot. I want to help out somehow, but I don't want them to also separate their dogs. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm going to see if I can find somebody else who can probably like take them and go from there. But that was my weekend. It was good. Yeah. I watched this that I want to talk about.
Yeah, you should watch the documentary.
I did watch a documentary. Joe Max recommended it. It was called the Case of Natalie Barnett. It's from Indiana.
That's what he said.
It's crazy. It's on HBO and I binge watched it. I think it's like 6 episodes. Yeah. It just keeps on going. And it's apparently about this family who adopted this child. Apparently 6-year-old child has a dystrophic, oh my God, what's that disability? Like she's a little person, but she's even little than that. Okay. So she has more, and then she's supposed to be 6 years from Ukraine. And this family had like foundation because their son has Asperger autism. So they started doing like daycare for kids who needed help. Mm-hmm. They've been doing it for like 10 years. So they decided to adopt her, get her. And then some issues started coming along. Apparently a mom found out that she had pubic hair. So it turned out to be like the way the story turned out to be like maybe she's not 6 years old and older kid who's trying to work as. Have you ever seen the movie Orphan?
Oh. I have not. I don't think I've seen it, but I see where this is going.
That movie is insane.
So a 6-year-old with pubic hair. Probably not a 6-year-old.
Not 6-year-old, but it was kind of hard to tell because of her disability. So it's like you can't really tell. So they're trying to. So the parents are trying to say like, hey, she was older. She was trying to make threats, so like making like hoarding knives. And there was one point that she was like on like side of their bed saying like, I want to kill you guys, like almost poisoned the mom, whatever.
Oh my God.
And then, but turned out they re-aged her somehow. Apparently that's a thing. You can legally go to like court and give them evidence and they can re-age and give you a new birth certificate. So they went that and then turned out that they re-aged her to be 22.
Oh no.
And then because she was 22, she's no longer a minor, so they get her apartment, have her live there. Yeah. They don't come help her. They give her apparently groceries every 2 weeks. People who else are in the apartment, they're seeing this essentially a kid taking like her own groceries in the car. Like they will bring groceries, they won't bring the groceries inside. Like she will have to carry the groceries inside. Can she even
drive?
She can drive.
Yeah, she's small, right?
She's so small. Yeah, she can drive. And she can grocery shop, and like the apartment is not handicap accessible. Like it's not low enough for her to cook or anything. Yeah. So she started like creeping neighbors out apparently because like she was lonely. Like they took her phone away.
God, it's so sad.
It's so sad. It turns out that neighbors are kind of being weird because like she's making a claims how like she tried to poison her mom and she wanted to know when they were coming back, like want to hang out. At first they were all trying to be nice, right? And then later on like she will just come to their house unannounced. And then come to find out that parents were also apparently abusing her. And
the Indiana parents.
The adopted parents.
Okay.
Like, they didn't take care of her. They kind of neglected her, didn't look after her. After 1 year, when the lease ended, they put her in Lafayette with on the second story house without a phone, gave her a card that she could go get a food stamps in a really bad neighborhood, and they went to Canada because her kid who had Asperger was really, really smart, and he got opportunity in Toronto. So they essentially just left her, and then come to find out that she talked to a couple people, like one family, and the family kind of adopted her, like kind of took her in, and then they kind of went after the parents and saying like, no, she is actually a kid. Even if you were re-aging her, she's still a minor. She's like a 12 or 16-year-old that you left behind. Just kind of, and then after they're in Canada, the parents.
how could you even legally do, like, who determined that she was 22?
Apparently, the doctor said something, but doctor didn't testify. The parents took that note and took it to a judge, and judge was like, okay, so how old you think she came in? And they're like, oh, she'd probably be like 16 or 14. And after they're like, okay, so it's been this long, so that means she was born in 1989. From that is 22. And that's not the case. But you don't know who's telling the truth.
Oh my
Honestly,
God.
don't know who's telling the truth, because the parents end up having a divorce, and what ends up happening that the mom, Christine, is the one was abusive to all the kids, abusive to her, apparently beat the shit out of her, and also abusive to dad. But
So
the dad
she's
is
in jail, right?
they,
She's in jail, right?
They both went to court, but then get guilty. And it's still going on. This literally, the case happened last year. They went to prison, and they all think that the parents kind of got away because they couldn't really say, like, the jury didn't have all the facts, and the way the jury had to make the decision was not really fair. So they kind of had to say that he's not guilty. And then they found the mom from Ukraine, and then found out that, like, the real birth certificate is that she is a minor. She's not a 30-year-old woman and living in a younger kid's body.
Oh my God.
And they just, dude, this is insane. I will recommend to watch it. I like watching documentaries like this. It's not really a true crime. It's like essentially still going on, right? Like, not like it's still going on. True story. She is older. She's like, apparently the family who got her, they were super nice in Lafayette. They essentially like kind of adopted her.
Yeah.
And it was like, how can they do that? And then they left her without a phone. So when Christine, the mom, whenever she will talk to neighbors, she would just say like, no, you can't talk to them, blah, blah. Like, she's like this. It's a child. So she kind of manipulated the child to say some things. She also has disabilities, so you don't know, there might be like learning disability there as well. It's just so sad. But when Joe Max recommended it and I could watch it, I just kept on going. That was my whole weekend. Like, I just like kept on watching because I could only watch on my iPad. So if I couldn't have my iPad, I was watching something else on my phone, and I would go back to my iPad and kept watching this, and I finished it. But the story is called The Case of Natalie Burnett. It's on Max. It's by Discovery, Discovery Plus. So it's on Max. And it's 6 episodes. I think the dad is lying as hell.
You think so?
Dude, he started from the beginning, and I think he's acting out. There was a one time.
But you said the mom was abusing.
I think they're both.
Okay.
I think mom was abusing, and he didn't do shit about it. Okay. So he's also accomplice, but he's trying to say that he's not. It was like, no, you are. It was a kid. You could have done something. Mm-hmm. Even if the mom found her place in Lafayette, you could have checked up on her. She has disability. You put her on a second story with the steep stairs, with a stove that's not accessible, and then with no phone.
That's insane.
And they're like, oh, we put her in a really bad spot. Or like, and they were from Purdue. It's like, if you were from Purdue, you would know how Lafayette looks like, and you will know what the good spots will be.
The least that should happen in the court, like, I guess they were not convicted of anything, but
no, the
least that should happen is they should never be eligible to adopt a child ever again.
Yes.
Like, that is the minimum, especially if there's like a concern that maybe you were abusing, even it's just maybe. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I think there was weird things going on with the kid as well, because they tried to get her help and they couldn't help her because this is a lot is going on in this. That's why it's 6 episodes, because there's a lot going on. Like, it starts out one way. I'm like, oh my God, there's an orphan story. Like, that movie was actually really scary. And then it turns out to be something else. I'm like, who is killing what? And what are they saying?
And
like,
I mean,
it's
like,
crazy.
But like, kids sometimes get creepy. Like the thing with the knives, like that is a very toddler thing to do.
But it also turned out to be like, if mom was being abusive, maybe she was holding knives to defend herself.
Exactly.
So it's like, it could go either or, right? And you can call it the other way. And the kids are so young. There were 3 boys, and 2 boys are young enough. They didn't bring in the documentary at all. The older kid did talk about it. But I don't know. He also has some kind of disability, so I don't know what. It's crazy. I totally recommend watching it. It's called The Case of Natalie Barnett. I think that I'm saying the last name correct because that's Barnett's family that adopted her. So I think that was her last name. And apparently in Ukraine, when the mom had her, doctors in Ukraine essentially said, like, you shouldn't take her home because she's gonna be too difficult for you. And then they didn't take her home, and I guess they put her for adoption. Somehow came to America, and then mom was like, I can't believe I listened to doctors. I should have like taken her home. But it's like, what hospital essentially says this? You have a kid who's gonna be very difficult. Don't take her home
because of the disability.
Yeah, because of disability. Because she's tiny. She has, oh my God, I literally looked up the name, what she had, like dystrophic dysmorphia, I think something like that. I could be totally butchering it. But totally recommend it. I like listening to true stories because it just like keep you, but
I don't know.
Maybe don't watch it. I think I told you everything.
Way too depressing, honestly.
But that's my recommendation of this week. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do that.
Great.
Yeah, it's a great recommendation.
Okay, well, we're also here to discuss a different show that both of us have watched that is absolute trash.
Reality TV.
But we enjoyed watching it because we could turn our brains off completely and just watch someone else struggle.
Yes.
And they did.
I love watching reality TV because of that very reason. After you watch like a case like a Natalie Barnett, I was like, I'm gonna watch everybody else have fights that don't really mean anything to me.
Yep. You know, that show, like, watching some of these really makes me feel better about my own life.
Yes.
And the choices I've made.
Yes. The reason why I watch reality TV.
So, the show we're talking about today is called Ultimatum, Queer Love.
Yeah, it's the first one.
There have been Ultimatum reality TV before, but this one is the first queer edition.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
So Pride Month, we wanted to talk about it this month.
Yes. And I haven't watched it until, like, you and Bree were talking about it constantly and wouldn't shut up about it. And I just kind of wanted to be included.
That's how
so
we do peer
I decided
pressure.
to watch it as well.
Yes.
And it was something.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So tell us what Ultimatum is.
So,
like, what is the show premises?
Yes. Let me explain the premise, and then I would love you to tell me if you think the premise has any, like, chance of success.
I haven't seen other seasons. I'm assuming, but I don't know.
So, basically, Ultimatum is a bit of a social experiment where 5 couples come in, and there is, in every couple, one of the people wants to get married, and the other person has cold feet for whatever reason.
Yeah, their own reasons.
And so the person that wants to get married issues an ultimatum. And ultimatum is that basically by the end of a certain period of time, I believe it was like 8 weeks, 2 months.
I think so. Yeah.
They need to either propose or they will break up. Or maybe they will find a new love in this show. So during those 2 months, you have 1 week to be with your person to just kind of like suss things out, like how things are gonna go for you guys on this journey. Then you break up.
I think they break up. Like, they call each other exes.
Right.
Yeah, essentially. But
essentially.
The quotation.
You break up in quotation marks. And then you basically date around. So the group of 10 people that are coupled up, they're no longer coupled up, they're single, but they're still hanging out around the same pool.
It's like a recipe of drama.
Oh my god. Anyway,
Like,
so
just a recipe of
they
drama.
just like kind of like get to know each other. They kind of like speed dating through it this week, and they couple up with different people, and then they move in with them for 21 days and have a trial marriage. And after those 3 weeks, they move back to their original couples for 3 weeks. And at the end of it all, they decide, do I want to marry this person or do I want to marry this other person? Or do I just want to fucking kill them both and move on with my life?
Yeah.
And, wow.
It's crazy.
So what do you think about the actual, just like
the premise?
The premise without like this, like what we've seen like this season.
Just the premise of
Just
Ultimatum.
the premise of like this as a social experiment.
So you know what's funny thing is I was talking to Pat about it, and Pat essentially who goes like, oh, so you get a chance to fuck for the last time before you get married. I was like, technically, sure. I mean, I understand the premise, right? The idea is like people who are having a cold feet, they're essentially having a cold feet because they don't know if they want to spend the rest of their life with this one person.
That's
so
one of the reasons.
One of the reasons. And like the other reason some people had because they wanted to be in certain financial space to be married and have a kid.
Yeah.
Or they didn't think the other person they're giving ultimatum, they want to get married but not really sure if they are ready. So there are many reasons, but it kind of does give a chance, I guess, people who have a cold feet to just what it would be like when you are out in a dating world, because you have been with certain someone for so many years, you kind of used to the routine and you kind of out of it. What does that look like? And overall, I think I kind of like the idea. So people who are just joining in, we're talking about the show called The Ultimatum, Queer Love, where one person gives ultimatum and the other person have to make a choice when they want to get married or not. I think the person who has been weird on commitment, I can see it as in like, okay, maybe that would be a chance for me to date somebody, right? Let me go see what else is kind of out there and kind of reinforces that the person I'm with is good. And I think where the issue the show has is, I guess, people don't talk about the boundaries. And then those boundaries come to be because like once you are in that trial marriage, my idea is you have broken up, you're in a trial marriage, anything goes. But if you haven't talked about it, then it can be an issue. But I think it's an interesting experiment. Would I ever participate? Hell no. But yeah, what do you think about it? Somebody who is married.
I was completely expecting the way it ended. Obviously, well, so out of the 5 couples that have entered this show, only one of them actually is still together now.
Oh,
shocker!
That's true. I mean, I think they all had issues.
So towards the end of the show, in like the penultimate episode, every single one of them ended up proposing to each other, and I was just like, nah, girl, they're just doing this for the show. Like, I know it. Happening. You know, they're just like filled with these emotions, and like they are like, I feel like ultimatum as a concept is very unfair.
True.
And I just don't see how it's useful to anybody to be under pressure to make a life-altering decision for themselves. Because if you're not ready, either that person that you're with needs to give you space, or maybe you're just not meant for each other, and then you both need to move on. Like, I felt like ultimatum is like slightly abusive.
But isn't that the same point of the show though? Like, if you are, let's say, I guess they use the word ultimatum, but the idea is like, hey, why are you not ready? We've been together for 5 years. Let's give each other space, date somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that by end of it, you realize what you had, because you sometimes don't know what you have until you lose it. And then it might be too late, sadly. But I guess you can give each other space without like putting them with other 9 women and hoping that they will find somebody, because everybody has some kind of compatibility with somebody else.
Exactly.
So Watchdog, I saw a similar situation where a guy planned to propose to his girlfriend, but the girlfriend said we should see other people first and be sure they want to spend the rest of their life together. The guy agreed and he met someone, and when he met back up with the girl he planned to propose to, he broke up with her and proposed to a girl he was seeing while they were separated. Wild story. kind of what happened in the
basically
show.
what happened in the show.
Yeah. And
I feel like when you push somebody against the wall, nobody is having a good time. I mean,
yeah, somebody might be.
Yeah, but it's like, in general, I just don't think I didn't see anybody actually like sticking to that commitment. Like when they proposed, I was like, I know they're gonna break up.
Yeah.
And in the end, we only have one couple that is still together out of 5.
Yeah,
So,
which is
I guess
insane.
20% success rate.
Insane. I need to follow up with that couple and see if they are still together. I think
They are. I checked.
They are.
There was an article about them from 2 days ago.
Oh,
so
cute. And
they are still together.
I guess they're gonna be spoilers. So
Yeah. Okay. So wait,
where did Nico come from?
Nico is right here.
She's always sleeping on the
She's
side.
the secretest of the girls.
Yeah, it's an interesting show.
Yeah. So we talk about like reasons why some of the contestants. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the contestants.
Yeah.
So, and let's go like couple by couple. Tell me which one is your favorite. So we had Lexi and Ray. What did you think about them?
I liked Ray.
I personally did not see them together.
I did not see them together either. So it was weird when they came in together.
Yeah.
Also, I couldn't look away from Lexi's boobs. It was just out there. It was kind of very...
She can't really hide them.
Can't really hide them either. And it was just... I mean, I think she tried to because I think she was insecure, or we'll see makes sense because everybody's looking at your chest instead of you. I didn't see them together. Do you want me to tell them a whole story or like just... when they came in.
I guess your feels about them.
They're fine. I felt like Ray was very quiet. I think quiet on purpose in front of the camera. And I'm not sure if that's how she was in real life. But I did think she did not communicate her feelings well enough. Or at least Lexi didn't give her a chance to talk about her feelings.
Yeah. I felt like Ray was very reserved. And
very
just
reserved.
Like generally didn't want to participate in this show. And it's just... Like, I felt uncomfortable every time, like, Ray spoke. I was just like, I see that Ray doesn't want to be here.
Yeah,
you know?
She's just like...
This is so sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Lexi and Ray, couple number 1. Couple number 2.
Lexi used her tits for evil.
Possibly. Then we had Vanessa and Xander.
Oh, I love Xander.
Yeah?
I loved Xander. I would date Xander. Xander seems... I love Xander.
I love Xander too.
Like she was so sweet when she was giving that foot massage to Yoli. I was like, oh, that looks so nice. like she knows what to do.
Yeah.
Vanessa, not so much. I wish Brie was here. No, actually, you like Vanessa because oh, you didn't.
Well, okay. Well,
I think you came around to her.
I had a journey with Vanessa. Literally, when I first saw her, I was like.
Yeah, and not a big fan. Yeah, she was sus.
And then she said something really shitty about Xander, and like her intention about like coming into the show was just kind of like fuck around, find out, which she fucking did. You know? Like,
yeah.
She fucked around, she found out. I didn't like her because it seemed like she generally wasn't. She basically wanted to be in an open relationship, but she didn't like verbalize that. And she was like, well, I don't know how to like, express like myself and like do like things that I want to do without hurting Xander's feelings. And I'm like, well, talk about it.
Yeah.
Say what you want. Like, then if she's not into it, then you might have to break up. But like, you can't have it both ways,
Yeah.
But she was basically, I got vibes that she was like actively cheating on Xander like every week. And just living her like secondary life, and Xander was like, "Babies, wedding,"
Yeah.
So I thought it was really unfair, but I think that she really came around and realized that she does want to spend her life with Xander. But I also feel like I liked when Lexi called her out on her manipulations because she was being manipulative.
She was. I think so. I never came around on Vanessa. The reason why I never did, like when she came in, she was fine. Like she was like flirting with everybody else. And I think until she had that date with Lexi where she essentially was like, Xander Xander never had sex with, like, she has hard time having sex with other people, and she like has sex with Vanessa. That means like essentially she has Xander in her back.
Yes.
Like nothing's gonna happen, so it doesn't matter. Xander's gonna find out that like whatever she has with Vanessa, they kind of have to make peace with it, and she doesn't have to change until she realized Xander was falling for somebody else, and then all of a sudden, this person who has never thought about getting married, even talking to her dad, like never thought about like commitment, all of a sudden she turns around and was like, oh my god, now I want to get married. Like now I don't trust that transformation that fast.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
At all. Like she could have still said like, Xander, like I am sad, I don't want to lose you, but I am having difficulty time with the marriage concept. Can we like figure something out?
Yeah.
So I never did, because I think she was trying to manipulate and get Xander and tell her whatever she wanted to and get her in there.
So that's where I feel like this show, the concept of the show, is a failure, because I felt like Vanessa truly like realized what she was losing.
Yeah.
And she really wanted like a second chance, so she could like actually like give all of her love to Xander. And I felt like they really like deserved that second chance together. Maybe without the pressure of like getting married. Because Xander also came out of the show extremely confused.
Yeah, very confused.
So I don't think either of them were ready for wedding, you know, but they could have maybe been like, all right, well, that was a wild ride. Let's be in a relationship for a little longer and see how we feel after this. You know what I mean? But like, because they were in a fucking ultimatum, they're like, well, we have to either get married or break up. What is it? And so I felt like the breakup was kind of forced upon them.
Makes sense.
And it was just kind of like, make this choice now. Like, is it Jolie or is it Vanessa?
Yeah. And I think a good thing at reunion, it was kind of sad to see, right? Like Vanessa was kind of saying, I understand where we end up being, but I lost a friend. And that was like a sad part. And I think they kind of reconciled on their like, let's be friends again. And I don't know, maybe that will turn into something else. But you're right. I guess that part of the show is scary, because like either you do propose or you break up. There's no room to be like, hey, I learned some things about myself. You learned some things about yourself. Instead of just taking the step of getting married, let's relearn each other together and see how that goes. Because Xander was the one who gave ultimatum, and even in the end, she was like, I don't know, because I kind of fell in love with somebody else. What does that mean? Yeah. The person I was going to get married to no longer want to. I'm getting married to somebody else. And how do you give up that 5 years of relationship?
Yeah.
Just because you think you have, because you can still have feelings for other people. But yeah.
I also, upon like I didn't watch this twice. Yeah. I would not do that to myself. But like upon thinking about it more, I do feel like they gave Vanessa like the evil cut.
They did.
The evil edit. Like she was
an evil person.
Immediately turned evil. She was the heel of the show. And I thought it was a little unfair.
That I can see, yeah.
Because let's talk about Yoli and Mal. Because I would, if there is a villain in this show, then it's Yoli.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
yes, absolutely. I'm sorry. Every time, oh my god! When she like, I love Yoli. Like the first, like when she was with Xander, and I was like, this is like, I feel like they are like really like compatible.
They were so compatible.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, okay, I root for them. But then she started getting really sneaky and shitty towards Mal. And I was like, listen, girl, you need to not do that anymore. And then every time anybody would call her out on something, she'd be like, oh, I didn't do that, and deny. And then when it would be like, receipt. Here's the receipt. Yeah. She was like, oh my god, I forgot. Bitch, what are you smoking that you forget everything all the time?
Can I say Mel was the best person throughout. Justice for Mel. I will also date Mel. She was great.
I love Mel.
I loved Mel because when she was with Lexi, she was so understanding when Lexi was doing her drama with Ray and Vanessa. Mm-hmm. I will call it drama because it was dumb. Because it was so stupid. And then Mel, when it comes to Jolie, like she was also like, Yoli, you in love with somebody else. You apparently in love with two people. I'm here for it. But I want to be here for you. And love Mel. Mm-hmm. Fucking love her. Yes. And I think I did agree. Like I did like Xander and Yoli together, and I think they should have kind of done more. But at the same time, I think after them watching the show, I can see why they weren't together, because like after Mel proposed, Yoli accepted. She went to go talk to Xander. I was like, what is happening here? And then they're like one of their bar.
Like Yoli was like one of those people that kept looking like past the fence to see if the grass got any greener.
Yeah.
But like she wanted commitment, but she was actively avoiding commitment.
Even though she got the commitment. I was so confused
about her.
Yeah.
Like I really liked her at first, and then she like started to get it really passive aggressive with Vanessa for no fucking reason. And I'm like, okay, uncalled for. Like I did not like Vanessa, but I didn't think she needed all that shit from Yoli.
No.
And, and I did not appreciate Yoli at all in the end.
Mel got where do they live? Because Mel was like, got such an understanding person. I don't think I've ever seen like that kind of understanding person in reality. Like she kept her cool until she couldn't. Yeah. Like she lost it, which I'm like, how have you not lost it early on?
And did you see what Yoli did when she lost it? She tried to calm her fucking dog.
Oh yeah.
I was like
what the hell? Like no. But dude, it's interesting. Like a reality show brings a really interesting idea around, like, you know, your personality comes out and then you can't really hide it from the camera and from the whole world, and just seeing how Mel went about it. And yeah, that like I was all for Yoli till the very end. I was like, no, Yoli, you just fucking up. Like you saying one thing and now you're doing other. And yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Tiff and Mildred.
Oh, Tiff, that was weird. So we come to find out apparently Mildred was abusive. She went to...
How are you not shocked by that?
I guess, I don't know.
Mildred is a walking red flag.
Yeah. I didn't think about that until when she was with Aussie, because Aussie was also a walking red flag.
Oh, Aussie is absolutely a walking red flag.
Yeah.
But Aussie acknowledges it and works on herself.
True. And it was interesting when that whole thing went down. I came around on Tiff. I wasn't sure about Tiff, but I understood where she was coming from. But till the very end, when she was like, "Oh, I've been gaslighted," I was like, "Oh shit, there's a whole thing's happening." They're fine. I don't have much to say beside Mildred, a crazy person. But yeah.
I think the thing also is that like we don't really know, because you know, it always boils down to he says, she says.
Yeah.
We can judge the things we saw on camera, but there's definitely other things going on behind the camera. And yeah, I felt like Tiff had a lot of learning to do as well. Like her communication style was not great.
No.
If she had any like non-negotiables, like her dog, she should have said that before she started living with somebody. And I think Mildred did the same thing with her son.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, I don't understand how you guys are together. Like, you shouldn't be together. Why are you on the show? Break up.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So Unruly Kate, the producers did Tiff so dirty. I agree with that. I do think they put her in a weird spotlight. But at the same time, I don't think she did any justice to her either. Because Sam was so confused when she talked about dog, and I watched like Tatum after the reunion where they asked about Sam. Sam's like, I love dogs. Like, dogs are not my problem. The problem, I think, what it ended up being when we were in that argument was like, it seems like there's something else hidden behind it, and you're taking it over me not liking dog. And then she was trying really hard to get that communicated out of Tiff, and I think she did a good job trying to get that communication. Like, what is going on? But I don't think they did a good cut. They made it look like Sam didn't like dogs.
Listen, Tiffany made Sam cry, and that is fucked up.
That's true. That's
you can't make Sam cry.
No, and again, and I agree with you. Like, if dogs are your deal breaker, be like, I will always make sure. Like, now with Nico, I was like, hey, do you like dogs? Because she's there. And I think there's some things we can work on it. Like if person say like, oh, they don't like having a dog on the bed, that's fine. That's not a deal breaker. We can work through it. Like she doesn't have to be on the bed. We will just have to, get that trained because she's used to the bed.
Yeah.
And then I know eventually person will give in and will like the dogs on the bed. Like it's not gonna be my deal breaker.
I will train the dog.
I will train the dog.
I'm training you.
Exactly. Once you fall in love with the dog, you will want dog everywhere.
That's so funny.
Because that's exactly what me and mom said. We will never have dog in the bed. Second night. Come on the bed. Come on the bed. Come on the bed. But I think like stuff like that, like if you have a kids, obviously that needs to be discussed right away. It's not something that you can spawn on somebody later on. It has happened to me a few times. Like I've been on a date where like person didn't say they had a kid until like at the date, and it's like, I guess now that I know you, I'm fine with the idea of you having a kid, but I know if I had known that before, I probably would have thought of twice.
Yeah.
So I can see why like putting down your profile might not be a good thing, but don't wait until like second date. That should be like a first thing you talk about it.
Yeah, I do think you should talk about pets.
Yeah, pets, dogs, people,
kids,
children. Yeah, everything. That's your deal breaker. Kind of like mentioning beforehand. So that was kind of weird that Tiff didn't. Mildred. I don't know.
Mildred is just I feel like what happened with Tiff, like Tiff and Mildred have been in this on and off thing. And I think Tiff learned a lot of bad communication from Mildred that she quickly unlearned with Sam. You know what I mean? Like she thought this is how you treat people in a relationship.
Yeah.
And Sam was like, you will not talk to me like this.
Yeah.
And Tiff was like, oh shit. All right, I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, because I guess they've been doing on and off. Any couple who does on and off, that's just bad.
Yeah.
You just be off. Also, love Tiff's friend.
Jessica!
Loved her.
I love her.
There have been petitions going on to make her a host for next one.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
she's great.
She was so good. The advice that she was giving out, like dissing out, I was like, Natasha. Was it Natasha? What was her? Jessica. I don't know where Natasha came from. Jessica.
Think there was a Natasha somewhere.
Jessica, dude, I want her in my life. I want her as a friend. She was
was it Natasha?
Good. I don't know.
Now you're confusing me.
Spidey.
I'm like 90% sure it's Jessica.
It might be Jessica, but her friend, whoever she was the best thing ever. Natasha and Alicia would be an amazing two-person hosting. I think it was Natasha.
Okay.
Unruly Cats. Was Natasha Tiff's friend? Whoever she was so good.
She was great. She was asking all the right questions.
All the right questions.
You know what I thought was really awkward?
Yeah.
Lexi and her parents.
That was weird.
Like, why would you talk to your parents about your girlfriend getting fingered?
It was so weird.
That is too much. That is too TMI, first of all. Second of all, your dad clearly didn't want to be there. Also, like, I did not appreciate Lexi. Like, clearly Lexi was the only person in that entire dynamic who wanted to be on TV.
Yeah.
Her dad didn't want to be there. Ray didn't want to be there. And their mom was the only one, like, doing commentary. Yeah. And it was so fucking awkward.
It was awkward. It was Natasha. Thank you, Unruly Cat.
Sorry. I don't know where I got Jessica from. I have no idea where that came from.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, Natasha was great. I fucking loved her. Like, second time she came around with Mildred, I was like, yes, I want this scene. I want to watch this scene carefully. Because she asked good, hard questions that a friend should be asking in, like, situation like those. And I was like, good, damn. Like, I can't believe you're friends with Tiff and you're putting Tiff on the hot spot right now. Great.
She was hot, too.
She was hot too. Oh yeah, she was. She kind of gave me like Lily Superwoman vibe. Do you ever watch Lily sing Superwoman?
No.
Okay, she's like YouTuber from Canada, but like she started from that vibe.
Yeah. I just haven't watched her.
Give me her vibes. Yeah, it was great. I loved her. But yeah,
she was good.
Who's the next?
So the last couple we did not kind of talk about is Sam and Aussie. Those are the ones that are still together.
Which I'm surprised.
I think all respect due to Sam, because I would not be able to deal with somebody who walks away from me when we're having a conversation.
Yes.
Even if a conversation is hard to have, you can ask for a little bit of space. but you can't just walk away.
Can't walk away.
That's just so rude.
The funniest scene to me was when she was with Mildred, and she comes in the middle of the night, pack up her stuff, and she's like, I want to be clear, I'm not running away. While she's packing the bag and she's walking out the door, I was like, you're running away. Like, you're literally walking out of this relationship.
Yeah.
Nico, lay down. See? You don't look at her. Then
sorry.
she comes closer.
Sorry.
And then she's like, this is my time. Mercer, I finished The Wire. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Sorry, we're still talking about this one show. Mix it up. But
so out of these people, we just talk about them all. Who was your favorite and who would you date?
Oh, I will definitely date Mel.
Yeah?
I will definitely date Mel. And my favorite was, I think Mel was my favorite. Natasha was my favorite, even though she wasn't playing. And I really like Sam. I think Sam.
I love Sam.
Yeah, Sam was very understanding.
Sam is an angel.
An angel. And I don't know how she is with Aussie, to be honest. Because Aussie, who's like 40-year-old woman, right? Mm-hmm. She's old. She still hasn't told her parents that she's lesbian. Mm-hmm. And at that show, they still haven't told her parents that they were engaged, which is insane. I totally understand. Like, me coming from a brown culture, right? I wouldn't tell my parents I'm dating somebody unless it's really serious. Mm-hmm. And if it's somebody who's not brown, I can totally see that being a huge issue that you kind of have to like wait to make sure you're fully there. But if you're engaged, I'm sorry, you kind of have to have that discussion. And yeah, I understand like having a rough upbringing, but like if you're not 21, you're 40, you have learned so much about your life, and I'm pretty sure your parents at this point will be just happy for you to find somebody that makes you happy.
Well, I wouldn't bet on that.
That's true too.
Honestly.
Then move on. You're already an independent woman. And if they don't accept you at this point, like, you gotta make yourself happy.
So I feel like I was super annoyed at Ozzy, but I also felt like she had a lot of things going on in her life. And I mean, at the age of 40, yes, that's kind of late in the game that you're addressing it now, but I mean, some people just don't get there.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need other people to ask them the right questions. She was literally telling how Sam was actually like questioning, like, so what's your gender identity? Have you ever asked yourself that? You know? And she was like, well, I don't know, actually. Like, I don't know, maybe you know, she was considering transition at that point. But like, she's 40. I mean, yeah, she should have figured her shit out, but like, that just, she's a boomer too.
That's true too.
You know, like,
it takes a while.
There's just so many things in her life, and like the way she was talking about her like childhood, like both her and her brother are queer. Oh yeah. But their family doesn't know.
That would be
like there must be something, you know, there that like Ozzy was annoying as hell, but I also very much understand that this is hard. Yeah,
it is. And, you know, I totally agree with, you know, like, I think we are like as millennials, we're in our 30s just now figuring out that we need therapy. So with boomers, that's also kind of a late one. It's like, it's going to take a while for you to realize because therapy is just not getting okay. And I think those two are the one that they can really get benefit from couple therapy and also just a therapy. Like, I hope she is in a therapy because like there's a lot of questions that needs to be discussed. Unruly Cats, as a queer person who does a lot of counseling for kids in the community, I think that you have to come out narrative can be pretty harmful.
Yes, I think everybody needs their own timeline.
Very true.
Know? Like, you don't know where they, like, especially for kids. Yeah. You need support system until you're 18. Maybe coming out is literally, like, life-threatening for you. Yeah. So you should not be doing that. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you can, like, establish some sort of autonomy or, like, independence, financially, I think that's big. Otherwise, then live your truth, but just, like, be safe.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing I've learned from my therapy and from you. It's, like, some things that you don't think about it, but, like, ideas like, I've made myself financially independent because of this very specific reasons, because I may have to be in a situation where my parents may not accept whatever decisions I make. I mean, they're okay with me being a YouTuber. Who had thought of that? But I think that's just unconsciously things that you do. And Aussie did those things. Like, she's financially independent. She lives on her own, and she has a very good support system who's been with her so much. I think, and she has a good group of friends. Like, she has one really good friend. I think that she just needs to make sure that she needs to trust them. Trust them, they will be there, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Mercer, my brown parents would have made a chapati out of my ass if I bring a girl. I love it. Brown parents don't even recognize anything beyond heterosexuality.
Not only brown parents. No, that's not. My mom is coming around.
Yeah.
But my dad is just extremely homophobic, and this is like part of culture.
Yeah.
Like this comes in time. I still, like, there's so many backward things happening in the United States right now with like all the laws passing and just everything. But like still the United States is still one of the most progressive countries when it comes to LGBTQ plus rights. In my country, which even is not religious country, but it's still like that traditionalism is ingrained in the culture. So you still have like, yes, you can enter in like a legal partnership with a same-sex person, but it's not the same. It's a legal partnership. It's not called marriage.
Okay.
You don't get, and by the way, it's the same in a lot of states here as well. It's just called legal partnership. But like, you can't, for example, put your legal partner on like an insurance plan. You can't.
So what's the point of,
like, your taxes are not the same as like joint married couple taxes.
Yeah. Like,
there's still so many like unequal things that are putting queer people at a disadvantage, like economically. Yeah. And for no reason.
No reason. You might as well. Like, it. Yeah. It's very difficult. Even my parents, I think at this point, my mom can see the argument, but I think even though she knows I'm bi, I don't think she has ever accepted it because I haven't really like challenged that concept, right? But I don't know how they will feel if I do bring home a woman, and I think that's been a whole thing that I discussed with my therapist. But but I don't know. I think it's just they're okay with it as long as it's not them. Like, it's not within their vicinity. And I think that's a lot of people that go about it like, oh, it's fine, until they're challenged. It's like, are you?
It's like in Czech, it's even like young people still are kind of stuck up in this mentality. Like, it's just happening way slower. Yeah. The change. One of my friends came to visit me, and her brother, like, we were walking on Mass Ave. There's one gay bar called Metro. Yeah. And also the Prague Underground system is called Metro, and it's literally the same logo. Oh, it's like, take a picture here. Like, this is like part of Czech Republic. Yeah. And it's like, okay. So I'm like trying to take his picture, and they were asking me like, what is this place? And I was like, oh, it's a gay bar. And they're like, ugh! Like, no, don't want to take my picture here.
Oh my God.
And I was like, are you fucking okay right now? No. What's happening? And he was just like so offended that I was just like, and that was literally a day after we all hung out with like a group of my friends who are like largely queer. Yeah. And I'm like, did not know that? Are you aware that like you were talking to this person and that person and that person, that person? All of them are like either bi or gay or like whatever. Something, yeah. And he was just like, like, he was like, then like the one thing that he said I hate when people are like this is about like, oh, I guess like, you know, when a girl is bi, I guess that's fun because they can bring like another girl.
I hate that.
And I was like, what?
I hate that so much.
Or just like, so like, you know, when you're like, when you girls are hanging out, you're just like licking each other's vaginas, and I'm like, no. Like, well, do you do that with other girls you hang out with? You're heterosexual? What the fuck are you talking about?
I was like, oh God. Oh, blind
wave raid.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you so much, waivers or blind. What are you called? What are you guys called?
Waivers? They are waivers.
No,
blind
riders.
Riders.
Waivers.
Welcome, Raiders. Welcome to the Super Secret Girls Club. Thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about one of the reality TV show. You have joined an interesting topic.
Yes.
Our topics are changing every week. But this one happened to be about the Ultimatum, the show, the queer love for June month. So we're talking about, gay stuff.
Let's talk about... Are you vagina instantly?
Welcome.
Let's talk about the representation. Because...
In the show?
Yes.
Yeah.
The show, obviously, very important to like showcase queer love.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
love to see it. But at the same time, I personally had some issues. Like,
did you?
How did you feel about these 10 people being kind of representation of like queer love, lesbian love, also girl on girl, like just not even like love relationship, but just like friendship stuff.
Yeah.
I thought they were so fucking messy.
Yeah.
And I'm not like this at all. And I was like getting triggered sometimes because I'm just like, you are showing us women in such a bad light and like just confirming all these stereotypes about women that I don't want to be associated with.
To give me an example.
Stop. Like Lexi.
Which one?
Lexi was driving me up a fucking wall.
Oh yeah, she was very stereotypical, like the stereotype of women. Like,
too.
Why?
Like when Yoli, and this is why I guess I was like siding with Vanessa in the end.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't appreciate when Yoli and Lexi and somebody else, I forgot who was the third person that participated. Mildred? Yeah, Mildred. All created this like toxic mean girls circle and just like yelling at Vanessa. And I was just like, can you all fucking calm down? Mm-hmm. This is ridiculous. Also, I heard that Sam said that the only two people she would invite to her wedding is Tiff and Vanessa.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So, I mean, as a representation goes, I was fine with it because it was something, right?
Something is better than nothing.
Something is better than nothing. We haven't really explored a queer love in a reality show. I'm curious to see if there's going to be Love is Blind kind of style, but how do you even do that? You can't do Love is Blind. But it was with the Ultimatum, the way the show is, and doing a queer love, like you kind of saw all of them, and I thought we saw everything, like from somebody who is as well adjusted as Mel, from queer side, kind of a masculine side. True. Same with Tiff. So it was interesting when they were all dating. Mm-hmm. There's sometimes like I've never dated somebody who is masked or like somebody who's just as masked as me, and then it's one of those things, right? Like as a queer person, there are specific things like I would love to date who is a woman of a woman, like a girly is a girl, but the stereotype still sticks with me, like the stereotype of like Yoli, the stereotype of like Mildred. I have come across those because in the end of the day, you are a woman, and a lot of times everybody needs therapy. So not everybody needs therapy. Everybody hasn't dealt with their drama, and that kind of comes through it. Yeah. I didn't think that was too odd. You put a lot of like in a reality TV, you've always seen when you put women together, and there's always gonna be one mean girl. If I didn't see one, I'm watching the show for drama, right? If I don't see the drama, I'm turning it off. I'm turning it off. If I'm watching reality TV, I'm watching for drama. And if everything's... Hey, same with Love is Blind. Like, if there's a couple who are very well adjusted, whenever they go there, skip. I don't care about you. You are very... Like, you gotta figure it out. I want to see what the toxic... like a toxic people app, because I want to feel better about my life because whatever shit they're doing.
Right.
So I wouldn't mind the drama, but I did think it was gonna happen. You put so many women together, a few of them who are mean girls are gonna come to find each other, and then they're gonna find somebody to scapegoat on, to find somebody to like rumors about. And I think Lexi just felt, I don't know, betrayed is the right word. I think Lexi kind of felt like, oh, she came with somebody, she gave the ultimatum, and all of a sudden she kind of fell for this person who she will never fall for. It turns out that person was just using the show to be something, and I think she felt kind of betrayed that like she kind of fell for somebody who was like that, and I think then she turned Vanessa into a bad person. But hey, there was drama. I was fine with it. overall, I was fine with the show because it kind of gave everything. It kind of gave people who were not good at communicating trying to learn how to communicate. People who always run away were running away and still trying to stay and stick, like make it work. The people who are very girly and you can still be a queer. It doesn't have to like, I don't have to like look at you and be like, you have to look and dress a certain way.
Yes.
And people who are masked and they are very nice and understanding. Fucking loved Mel. I cannot say this enough.
Yeah. I thought it was like really interesting. I guess it's true. There was like a lot of variety. And like, for example, comparing Mel and Ozzy, who are like more masked than some of the other more feminine contestants on the show, and like how they like Ozzy just internalized toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
And she was just like a male through and through, because I think she was just like these are the male examples that she saw in her life that she was trying to like imitate because she wanted to be that. But Mel, I guess, like her upbringing was different, and so she had like all this like just openness about her, and the way she communicated was just like so vastly different.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So vastly
So I
different.
guess that's great. That's a great point. That it was like really showing even within like the subgroups.
Yeah.
Still like everybody's different. Every single person is unique.
And I haven't seen the other seasons of Ultimatum, and I keep going back to Love is Blind because that's the only show I kind of have seen a lot of the seasons. Even in that, you will always find like some girls who like come together, right, and diss on someone.
And honestly, that's cool. Like,
just don't do it over the well, but yeah.
I just at some point you are not like trying to address a thing. At some point you turn into bullies.
Yeah.
And I felt like during that dinner at some point they were just like bullying Vanessa.
They were.
And I just felt uncomfortable.
It was even though I was a big fan of Vanessa, the way they treated her was horrible because it's like you guys are knowing not better.
Especially Yoli.
Yeah, especially like her and Mildred. It was like, Mildred, what are you doing? Like, you kidding me? Like going, and let's talk about the finger gate. That they call it.
Oh my god,
such a stupid term.
Finger gate.
It was interesting in reunion when Lexi brought up, and I think it was a good point to discuss that what they think is sex might not be the same definition of what you consider as sex. And I think a lot of time in the community when they say like, oh, two women are having sex, that's not really a sex because she hasn't really lost her virginity because she wasn't penetrated. And it's like, that's not the case. Sex can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It just depends on how you define it. In the queer community, especially in lesbian community, not the one person have a dick, so like it can be very different. So I think it's just a matter of how you define it. For me, more so it's like if both people have orgasm, you're good. Whatever you do, like it end up being just oral, but that's what it is. And I think
it's called oral sex.
Exactly. It's still a sex, and then you can have toys and stuff. Like however you want to do it, like whatever works for the other person. Again, communication goes a long way, but I think that was a really good point for it to bring a reunion because a lot of people like they just fingered. That doesn't mean anything. They didn't have sex. So like that depends on what you talk about.
And that honestly never crossed my mind because it was just kind of like more so like this is an intimate moment. And like, I mean, you entered somebody. Yeah. Like, if we're talking about the physical aspect, you kind of entered somebody. Doesn't matter how.
Doesn't matter.
And on the other side, like, you have the emotional intimacy. Where, like, you're already living together. Like, this is huge. Yeah. But then if you're already, like, become, like, physically intimate, it doesn't really matter to what degree. Like, it's happened.
It's happened.
Like, even you have to, if you're okay with them kissing each other, you have to be okay with them doing whatever else.
Exactly. I think the one thing I was really weirded about the show, and I don't know if that's true for the other seasons as well, is like Lexi being such an uproar that her ex has sex with somebody else. It's like the whole concept of the show is you broke up, you find somebody else, you live with that person as a trial marriage. Unless you had specifically talked about beforehand that, hey, we are broken up, but you're not allowed to have sex with anybody else, that's a different thing. But you're broken up. You're with somebody else.
Yeah.
And for you to figure out that if you really want your ex back, you kind of had to put your full emotion in it, right? Like Lexi didn't put her full emotion. She didn't go through the full experiment. So
No.
justice for Mal.
She was focused on Vanessa so much.
So much. And yeah, and then the other one, like, yeah, so the whole thing's like, I didn't understand that whole concept because in my eyes, you're broken up. You're on a break. Ross and Rachel break. You're on a break. Things can happen. And the whole concept of it is, like, you signed up. Like, Vanessa, like, Lexi, you signed this up for yourself. You came here. You knew what you were getting into. And I think she was just so hung up that Ray was with Vanessa and not really necessarily Ray had sex with somebody else. It could have been that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it was both.
Yeah.
And I think this Lexi was just very controlling.
Yeah.
I agree with Unruly Cats. There was like a lot of red flags about that, which was just like, no, I mean, this is the kind of person I expect to enter an ultimatum.
Yeah.
Like, she was the poster ultimatum child.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was learned a lot. I think I learned a lot from there as well. And HEFB, yes, I am on Ross's side. They were on a break. Fight me on this. They were on a break. Shit happens. And then you can go.
Well, you know, what's the point of a break?
What's the point of break? Exactly. Or you just say, I need a space. Those are two different things. If you need a space, you're still together, you're taking a space. But if you say we're on a break, you want a break.
Yeah.
Like, there you go.
Do you have any non-negotiables for a partner?
Non-negotiables.
Yeah.
I mean,
or
we
anything
talked about
that was displayed in a show that, like, you'll be like, okay, I'm through. We're through.
I would be so non-negotiable for me would be, I guess, what I saw Aussie like walking out so many times. I think after third or fourth time, I would be like, no, we're done.
No.
Like, first time it happens, let's talk about it. What did happen? And then she will say, like, I'm sorry. Like, right? Like, people do that. Like, I'm sorry, kind of thing. Then let's figure out, like, the best way to do it. You can go to a different room and we can come back together. Or just, let's pick a safe word. It's like, hey, Peaches, like, I need a space. That's fine. Go for it. But, like, if you walked out on me, like, 3 or 4 times, no. Let's figure something else out. But beside that, like, I didn't think Ray and Vanessa's situation was not breakable because we were on a break. And like, whatever happens. But I think the point would be, like, I'm not good at communication. I realize I'm horrible at communication. I'm working on it. But if you walk out on me in the middle of night, that's a very different thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. And also, I think the other thing was, like, I could see Aussie, when Mildred was trying to have a conversation with Aussie, like, Aussie was very uncomfortable. If you see somebody's uncomfortable, stop.
Yeah.
Don't push on it.
And, like, she started being passive-aggressive, too.
Yes.
At that point. And it's just like, okay, that was a bad move.
That was a bad move. Yeah. I think that's the really, like, just, that's the, I think, other, no, like, just read the room. If I'm being uncomfortable, like, obviously talk about it. Let's circle back. But, like, don't keep pushing on the same thing again and again and again. Also, that's my problem, too. But if you can't tell that I'm uncomfortable, that's saying a lot.
My big non-negotiable that I learned the hard way is, like, if you bring up, like, if something happened and we have an argument and we made it through and we survived it, then it's done.
It's done. We
are not bringing it up again in a he said, she said to prove a point that, like, is long forgotten. Yeah. You know, like, that I was in a relationship with a person that just would keep bringing, like, something I did that I also didn't even understand how it was wrong. Yeah. But it was just, like, used as manipulation to, like, make me feel guilty so that I would just always say yes to anything. Yeah. And that was, like, a pattern that I could see in Lexi. And I could imagine, and again, I'm just, like, speculating, but I would not be surprised if they actually broke up over the fact that Lexi kept bringing Vanessa back. Again and again. In any argument. It was like, well, you got fingered. And, you know,
like, you talked about it.
Because it happened to me, and like, I just, like, I could see that in Lexi, and I was just like, I would not be around this person. If they brought up Vanessa 3 times, that's it. I'm out.
Like, you already talked about it, what else can you do? And I agree with that, because apparently they did get engaged and they broke up for the same fucking reason because of the past things. They couldn't walk, like they couldn't move forward from there. It was like, you are engaged. Didn't you talk about this already enough? Like, what else can we do? But yes, the Mercer, what's a non-sexist safe word you can think of? Vegemite is a good one. The other one, I like the word peaches or yellow. Like yellow, let's just slow down, whatever it is, and red, just stop.
Foliage.
Foliage. Okay, I'll be so bad with like that word. I wouldn't think of the word like foliage.
So funny. I love it.
God. So
right.
Somebody asked what other show we'll be talking about. So next week I'm going on vacation, so it'll be just Ketty. The following week we might have to cancel it, and then later on it'll be just me in 3 weeks. After that, we're gonna be talking about Black Mirror. Yeah. We're gonna start watching Black Mirror on our own, so we'll be trying to discuss that. So I see some people have already been consumed by it, so that will be a good discussion.
So there will be SSGC next week. I have not fully decided on the topic, but one of the boys will be joining me.
Yes.
Maybe I will ask him some, I don't know,
uncomfortable
dude codes questions.
Guy code. Do that. But yeah. All right. We are going to rate someone. Tess Fisher.
We're going to rate Tess Fisher. Tell her Normies send their regards, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great week. Have a great week.
Get ready, because it's about time for you to speak your mind. Girls Club Radio. Girls Club.
Like 150.
Super Secret Girls Club.
They were like, we're not staying behind because only 55 stayed.
Exactly.